Because of their complex personalities, INFJs frequently endure criticism, bad treatment, and discrimination. But they never behave in a way that surprises their adversaries, which always surprises them. Here are 10 explanations for why genuine INFJs never react irrationally to potential foes. Number 10, they possess strong self-control. INFJs have exceptional self-discipline and can handle unexpected emotional reactions to perceived and real threats. Before acting or speaking, they always give themselves ample time to contemplate, breathe deeply, and put things into perspective. They resist letting their feelings overpower them. Instead, they have emotional self-control. Whereas some personality types let their strong emotions control their daily activities. Makes people say or do things they later regret doing. INFJ is no more superior than this. They simply wait for the tension to subside when a possible attacker provokes them, even though they might want to strike out and retaliate with insults. They are aware that these merely serve to temporarily calm them. These calm, rational creatures always look ahead to the long future, better strategies for resolving disputes. But as an INFJ, was there ever a time when you let your rage rule the situation? Number 9, they take responsibility for their actions. INFJs are the last to put the blame for their feelings and inner experiences on other people. They are the sort who blame their disappointment, and fury on circumstances outside of their control, rather than mentioning that my employer made me angry. They claim that I am upset with my boss, instead of being stuck on the idea that their employer did something that made them furious. They feel intrigued and eager to learn why they are upset. INFJs realize that these negative emotions are partially a result of their surroundings, but that they are outside of their control. They only have control over how they perceive the circumstance and how they respond to it. It follows that they are unlikely to react unreasonably or unexpectedly to potential adversaries. Number 8, they are not going to allow their unhappy feelings mar the rest of their day. INFJs think that spoiling their entire day for a single pointless argument with a possible foe is not worth it. It is not worthwhile to experience the stress and frustration over an insult from an illiterate person. INFJs have gotten into the habit of not letting other people's bad behavior affect how they feel. They have honed their capacity to avoid letting a single triggering circumstance ruin their goals, hinder their work, or trigger their worst tendencies. Even before they meet, these interactions aren't significant to them. INFJs have a ton of priorities planned out in a day because they are productive and progressive people. Additionally, they don't have enough resources to waste on unimportant people. How can you as an INFJ prevent other people's bad vibes from destroying your day? Number 7, they are adept at their foes' patterns. As inquiring beings, INFJs thrive at observing people's behavior. They truly want to know how other personality types react in particular circumstances, including those with whom they cannot resonate. Yes, INFJs are curious about the attitudes, behaviors, and perspectives of their adversaries. It could be tempting to pass judgment on them right away and yield to their unfavorableness. INFJs, however, always opt to know more in depth than they currently do. Therefore, they analyze and study their enemy's bad behavior and manners rather than responding to it. They base their perception of that individual on the data they gather from that observation. And by creating impressions, they can learn how to behave around them in the future to prevent unpleasant interactions. Number 6, they are aware of their surroundings and themselves. Only when a person isn't always introspective and reflective do unfavorable reactions to environmental triggers happen. When confronted with intensely provocative events, they will have a lot of suppressed emotions and unconscious motivations to the point where they lose control over their feelings and behaviors. However, because INFJs address these unconscious aspects, they won't typically respond irrationally to triggers. They have already resolved these issues in their alone time, so they don't react impulsively to things that can damage their ego. When a person interrupts a conversation to yell out an unpleasant joke, INFJ will react coolly and humorously. They are aware that the joke doesn't accurately characterize them, because they are more aware of themselves than others. Does practicing mindfulness help you maintain composure in challenging situations? As an INFJ. Number 5, they pause to consider their words and actions. INFJs excel at this and always have. Individuals' irrational behavior, absurd insults, and provoking remarks. INFJs are difficult to influence, because these thoughtful people consider their actions and words before acting or uttering them, despite the fact that they are aware they have the power to retaliate and humiliate the potential foe. In every challenging circumstance, they make the decision to be the bigger person. They don't just say something hurtful to vent their displeasure and rage. Instead, they assess their feelings and think to themselves, what specifically did the other person say or do that they found offensive? They won't further stoke the fire if they do it that way. Number 4, they won't accede to what their adversaries want. INFJs are conscious of the fact that their potential adversaries want them to respond insensitively and negatively as soon as possible, making the INFJ look bad in front of a lot of people by bringing out the best in them is the first thing toxic and irrational people want to do. Because of this, they abuse, bully, and gaslight them. However, INFJs won't grant their wishes. All they can do is watch them become frustrated with their kind reactions when their future attacker tries to elicit their negative emotions. INFJs are capable of controlling their anger and won't allow someone to get them angry without their permission. Do you also encourage rudeness with kindness? Number 3, the task of changing people's attitudes does not fall to them. Bullies are ignored by INFJs for a variety of reasons, including the fact that they have a lot of essential things to attend to, and none of them aim to alter the way that people view them. They think it's not their place to advise others on what they should and shouldn't do. It's not their responsibility to teach someone with bad manners how to behave properly. Because they desired and decided to do so, their potential adversaries acted in that way. And teaching them how to develop excellent character is not the INFJ's area of responsibility. They believe people should be responsible enough to go through self-discovery and acquire a more mature perspective because they have other responsibilities. Number 2, they operate shrewdly. INFJs labor diligently and shrewdly, drive off or teach their potential adversary a lesson rather than making every effort to avoid them. INFJs just decide to pay attention, observe patterns, notice loudness, and respond calmly. They cause emotional harm in this way, and shame on the person who is provoking them. They don't actively try to flee the jeers of others, they just stay put. Not take any action and watch as they become perplexed by your lack of response. From there, they will see the smiles on the faces of their bullies or future foes change to frowns. In order to protect themselves from their toxic coworkers who are constantly scheming against them, INFJs know they can always quit their job and go for another. However, they chose to show their adversaries wrong. They grow accustomed to the discomfort and disprove them. Has this method been successful for you? Number 1, it's not about them how people treat them. INFJs constantly remember that how other people treat and behave toward them has nothing to do with them. If someone insults them and makes fun of their reasoning during interactions that are supposed to be informative, it says more about that person's personality than about them. If a coworker purposefully alienates them and obstructs their advancement, in fact, it says more about their character than it does about INFJs. By remembering this, they realize that there is no cause to react in that circumstance violently, hurtfully, or emotionally. They merely observe as these folks unintentionally reveal their genuine selves to those around them. INFJs are always upfront and honest about their values and objectives. If they don't like the way someone is treating them, They will despise that person, but not so much as to take on the traits of that person. INFJs, do you find it simple to maintain composure in challenging circumstances? Do you acknowledge having exemplary restraint?